The first time I saw your guys' videos, it caught my eye. I stopped and I looked at it and thought to myself, originally, this is really cool, but we're kind of in the loader market, not in the truck market. So this might not be for
Yes.
us, was my initial thought, because we don't run plow trucks. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized it's more comparable to a loader than it is a plow truck. It's
Mm.
not a plow truck. It's a cheaper loader. Is kind of what I started noticing, right? With the 16-foot passes, with a hybrid cutting edge that sweeps right down. So every one of our loaders run metal Pless. So we've got
Mhm.
the live edge technology on all our loaders. So that was one thing that I was a little skeptical about at first, but found ourselves kind of getting the same quality scrape almost as our metal Plesses with the plastic cutting edge and having the down pressure available. You know, if it's a real icy storm.
Okay, well, Alex, thanks for being here. It's good to have you on.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
So, can you tell me a couple things? What's your name? What's your company? And where are you? Let's start there.
Yeah, so name's Alex Normando. Company CPM Projects, based out of Moncton, New Brunswick. We do got a couple different business under our roof. We do commercial carpentry, general contracting, and then of course some commercial snow removal as well.
Right. Yeah. And how long have you been
Yeah,
doing that for?
been with the company for about 9 years. Bought the company out 2 years ago,
Hey,
so proud.
Al.
Yeah, proud new owner for the last 2 years. Just kind of figuring things out as we go, but that's part of the fun, isn't it?
Congrats, man. That's a big deal.
Yeah, thank you.
Those stories of like sweeping the floor to buying a place is it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it's fun. It's it's rewarding when you get to start own your first business in a business you already know. It's kind of a leg up on someone trying to start from scratch, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's a good time just in businesses. It's no specific, but it's a good time for that. There's a lot of older operators that are getting out, and there's not a ton of people to backfill that. So having connections or offers like that, if you have an older boss say like, "Hey, if you're looking at some point, we can keep the team, we can keep the customers happy. Are you open to me joining?" And that I think will provide a ton of opportunity for younger guys who want to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but the main business 2 years ago, and over the summer actually acquired another portfolio of snow with some gear and stuff. So we managed to grow in one foul swoop and not have to go knock on a bunch of doors and piss off a bunch of other contractors to steal the business. So it's always a win when you're able to come up with a deal to grow the business.
John blazing, man. Way to go.
Thank you.
Taking no prisoners, hey?
No, do it or don't do it. Don't do it halfway.
Yeah. So you're in Moncton.
Yeah.
What's the like snow totals around there? What's an average season for you? What does the weather kind of look like?
So we're right on the East Coast, so we get a lot of like nor'easter storms. So we've got the highest tides in the world just on our coast. So the tides will actually go up 40 or 45 feet from high tide to low tide. So it creates some pretty funky systems coming our way. So a storm that typically runs right across the country, if the tide's on its way up, she'll hold on land for 6 or 12 extra hours sometimes. So it's and then vice versa, right? Some days they're calling for a lot of snow and the tide's going out and it pulls the storm right over us and we don't get what we're supposed to. So it's kind of really unpredictable. Typically, we get fairly heavy snowfall. We average probably between 275 and 350 centimeters per season. We were down this season compared to average, but we had a lot of events with less precipitation per event. So it cost us to actually be a lot busier than we've been previous years, even though the snowfall total was lower. And this
Right.
year had a lot of freezing rain, ice pellets, wintry mix is what they've been calling it because they don't know what to call it anymore.
Man, it feels like you got a pretty complicated situation with those major weather swings, high totals, and lots of like snow in general is wild. But it seems like you got an extra helping there where you are. That's incredible.
Yeah, it makes it unpredictable. It makes it fun too, right? At the end of the day, it's one of those things where you wake up in the morning and you know snow's in the forecast, but oftentimes you have no idea how much is coming.
Yeah. Well, and like even more south on the coast, same coastline, but more south or Midwest, we all get different weather, but something like that seems like truly unique. Right on the coast and just get smashed like that. That's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
so, so what do you run primarily for equipment? Tell us what kind of sites you run: residential, commercial, industrial, airports, trucks, loaders.
Yeah. So we run a fleet of about 25 payloaders. 25 loaders, mostly kind of a 40-ton size. We got some smaller loaders that are kind of helpers. On top of the 25 loaders, we run 4 farm tractors and as of this year, 2 plow trucks. Um, Part of the acquisition that we did included 2 loaders and a few of the tractors that I just mentioned. As far as our portfolio goes, the existing business we had prior to this acquisition was mostly all commercial. So we're in the industrial park in the city we're in. So we do a lot of trailer yards, truck yards, laydown yards, that kind of stuff, production facilities with large amounts of parking lot. We also do quite a bit in the downtown core. So a few hotels, government buildings, kind of DMV style buildings. So a few grocery stores, a few retail locations. So we have a real mixed portfolio. Some of our clients are open Monday to Friday, 7 to 5 kind of thing, and some places are open 24/7 and have to be operational 24/7. So we don't get the luxury of sleeping in when it starts snowing. We got to be on the go right away to kind of keep those trailers moving through the trailer yards and make sure the front trucks are able to get in.
No kidding. And I mean, I don't think you're in like Moncton as a major city for your province, but
Mhm.
as far as internationally, like North America, it's not a big. But from what I'm hearing, you must be a primary vendor providing services out there.
Yeah, 100%. So Moncton is a smaller city, about 150 to 170,000 people. The thing is, though, we are a transport hub, so we're right in the middle of the Maritimes. So it is quite busy in the industrial parks. So a lot
Mhm.
of reloading center and distribution centers base themselves in Moncton. Recently, here a couple of years ago, Walmart set up a distribution center for all the Maritimes, right on the same industrial park where we are. So it is. As far as population goes, I guess the square footage of plowable area is higher than average, probably based on the size of the city we are, because of how much commercial volume we have in the industrial park with the trailer yards.
Right. Wow. You got a good thing going, man. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
it's not a bad,
I'm
not a bad little
stoked
gig.
for you.
Yeah.
I guess. Slightly underplaying your hand, but yeah, this you worked your way into a good situation. So,
Yeah.
how did you find us? So we connected like middle of winter, and you kind for
Hmm.
me, you kind of came out of nowhere. We're on the radar. We weren't targeting New Brunswick. We get the most hate from Canada all day, every day. This will never work in Canada. So how did you find us? Why did you approach us? And kind of how have it gone since then?
Yeah, so social media. As we started getting into winter, December was an absolute shit show here for us. Again, not a high amount of precipitations, but December really kicked us in the ass. There's 26 days out of 31 where there was precipitation this year, so it caused us to kind of always be on the go and not get any breaks and nonstop. There's only one day when above freezing, so anything that fell had to be dealt with. We didn't get the sunshine or the heat to kind of get rid of it. So we kind of started off strong, and you can thank the algorithm because everything on my social media had to do with snow plowing, whether it be loaders or plow trucks or whatever the case may be. It had been what we've been talking about for a couple months, getting ready for the season. So the first time I saw your guys' videos, it caught my eye. I stopped and I looked at it and went to see some more videos you guys had to offer. Um, Thought to myself originally, this is really cool, but we're kind of in the loader market, not in the truck market. So this might not be for
Yes.
us, was my initial thought, because we don't run plow trucks.
Mhm.
Excuse me. um, but the more I looked at it, the more I realized it's more comparable to a loader than it's a plow truck. It's
Mm.
not a plow truck. It's a cheaper loader. Is kind of what I started noticing, right? With the 16-foot passes, with having the hybrid cutting edge that sweeps right down. So every one of our loaders run metal plus. So we've got
Mhm.
the live edge technology on all our loaders. It saves us a shitload of salt, being able to scrape kind of in the dips and stuff. So
Mhm.
that's something that none of our equipment doesn't have live edge on it. So that was one thing that I was a little skeptical about at first,
Yeah.
but found ourselves kind of getting the same quality scrape almost as our metal pluses with the plastic cutting edge and having the down pressure available. If it's a real icy storm, put some weight on it and she scratches and she goes.
Yeah, you
Um,
definitely know how to use equipment, that's for sure. You sent me a couple of those videos. Yeah. You're gonna
Appreciate that,
get
man.
what you're gonna get. Yeah, oh
Yeah.
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 So
No.
I'm gonna pause there for a minute, like the metal plus. So,
Hmm.
admittedly, as I was getting into this company, I've never sold or owned a product company.
Hmm.
For me, what you're saying is the same, but I picked a fight I probably shouldn't have picked by saying it's comparable to a loader because everybody picks the biggest loader they've ever seen with the biggest airport metal plus and says, it'll never. It's like, well, yes, I concede. I agree on that. But as
Hmm.
far as surface area covered and
Hmm.
general volume outside of big storms,
Hmm.
in that part, it is
Correct.
comparable. And
Yeah.
compared to a standard truck plow, it's not the same. It cuts out. You tell me your experience.
Yeah, it's not in the same realm as a front blade on a truck. Um, what we found the best luck with it. So a lot of our properties are substantially large. We got long pushes. Typically, once the blade's full, we kind of cut ourselves a channel like a dozer would, and we push the snow through the channel to make sure we don't bleed as much, and we kind of pick wet a lot that way.
Mhm,
So we're no strangers to long pushes or long pulls. What we found with the Top Gun is it's for us, it's best utilized as a support vehicle. So we've got 25 loaders. There's no reason I'm pulling snow half a kilometer with a truck. But what it is great for is zipping into all the loading docks and back dragging each individual spot. It can do it way faster than a loader. It's not as hard on, it's not as hard on rigging and stuff. We've got a few of our trailer yards that have the automatic dock locks. So when you run a metal plus across those, it just vibrates everything in the machine. It's hard on blades, it's hard on cutting edges, it's hard on gear. Um, we found huge luck with the Top Gun doing that because of the hybrid cutting edge. It just kind of skips over and in and out nice and fast. We pull it into the middle and then the loader picks it up and brings the pile from there. On our smaller properties, we can get the whole thing done. So some of the downtown stuff that we have is the tighter quarters, I guess.
mhm,
We found ourselves using it a lot, especially during the day. So kind of the biggest thing for us is we always try to just keep laneways open during the day and then do most
mhm.
for plowing overnight. So we have that luxury being mostly commercial, mostly, industrial properties. We don't necessarily have a lot of vehicles in the yards overnight. So we try to do most of our plowing when there's no traffic. Running these big loaders across town, it's a liability. It's expensive. You're putting miles on a machine for nothing, especially when you're stuck in traffic, right?
Mhm.
So we try to plow as
It's
much as
also like
possible.
a hazard, I would
It is.
argue,
Yeah.
is like, so our blade is 16 or 20 all the way out, but
Hmm.
it's road legal 101 the rest of the time. If you're trying to run a 16-foot blade on a loader,
Hmm.
if you're doing a mall or something, or it's tight quarters, you take up both lanes the whole way. It is not that easy to see what's going on or safe if someone comes towards you. But with our blade, you do both lanes, and if someone shows up, you just click it in, no problem.
100%. And what we found too is during the day, like especially in these places where there's traffic, when people see a loader coming, they're not used to it and they freeze. So then you're stuck having to cut around
Yes.
traffic in the parking lots. When they see a truck coming, they act normal and they're way more predictable. It makes it easier
Yes.
for us to move around because people don't change the way they typically move. So it's really hard for operators to know what the person's going to do when they meet a car. The person might move over, they might stay in the same spot. Some people just jam the brakes and freeze when they see a machine coming, right? With the
Yeah,
truck, at
that's
least
like a
it's,
fainting goat response. It's like,
yeah,
well, you got to do something. So
100%. Yeah. So we found really good luck busting laneways. Reason being, a lot of our properties are fairly big and they're, an hour and a half, 2, 3 hours for a loader in there to clear the whole parking lot to do a full scrape.
mhm,
But when we're doing the day stuff, we're only in the parking lots 10 or 15 minutes. So our portfolio is quite spread out through town
mhm.
because our properties are big enough that we can justify it. So the travel time kind of gets eaten up when you're 2 or 3 hours in a parking lot. But when you're only busting laneways, you're traveling 15 minutes to be in the parking lot 10. You're not making any money. You're only making money in snow when your blade's on the ground. You're not making any money when you're traveling the blade up. So your percentage of blade downtime is what's going to create your efficiency. And the machines burn the same amount of fuel whether the blade's down or not within reason. So we found with the truck, it's increased our travel time and it hasn't taken longer in the parking lots once we're there, especially for just clearing laneways and stuff. It keeps up a loader, no problem for doing that stuff.
Cool. So it's decreased your time in
Yeah.
transport.
Yeah.
And compared to running a loader, like what do you figure? You might have done the math, maybe a
Mhm.
ballpark. Your cost on running a truck with the operator and the fuel and whatever wear and tear calculations you put in there compared to a loader, like how do you stack those up?
The cost is hugely different. Operator, I pay the same anyways. We kind of pay our guys flat rate, so that way we don't have anybody whine or complain when they got to switch out to a
Smart.
different type of gear.
Yep.
Guys in the tractor, guys in the truck, guys in the loader, they all make the same for us.
Mhm. But you've
So
got
that's,
fuel,
yeah,
you've got your other
huge.
operating costs, you've got your blade on
Yeah,
the front, which is a very different
insurance.
price.
Insurance is a big one right now too with commercial plowing,
Okay.
right? So insuring our loader fleet because they're road legal again, statistically, when there's an accident with the loader, it's a big claim. So our
Yeah.
premiums are higher. Um,
Hmm.
Fuel right now at 250 a liter, which is $10 a gallon, basically Canadian.
Hmm.
Um, it is detrimental when the whole fleet's out. 25 loaders each burning 50, 60 liters an hour. You're talking thousands of dollars every 10 minutes.
Hmm.
With the truck, I can go 8, 9 hours plowing on 100 liters of fuel. And then the loaders were burning 50, 60 liters an hour, right? So if you do the math on that, your fuel is down significantly. It's down to about a quarter of what it would be in a loader. Um,
Your
and
liability,
mhm,
insurance, associated
yeah,
costs,
and not only that,
easier travel than driving a loader down the roadway.
100%. The other thing is with the hybrid cutting edge, carbide has gone absolutely berserk here over the last year. In our
Mhm.
market, carbide's up 478%.
No.
So replacing a cutting edge on a loader blade that's got all that down pressure and that weight all the time, um, is a huge difference, right? I calculated just the increase in price on the carbide. We got to go 2 years out of a cutting edge for most of our machines.
Mhm.
Um, it has increased my plowing cost by about $17 per hour just in carbide
Oh,
work.
no.
Yeah. So with the hybrid cutting
Ow.
edge, it's a no brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty easy to replace, fairly inexpensive, does a good job. It definitely saves a fortune compared to that new increase.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild. This is a fascinating story because you run mostly metal plus on big loaders, you kind of
Mhm.
dominate your local market, but it seems like you're not compromising quality or speed or any of the things that guys are concerned about, but you're doing the same job. So I guess two questions. One would be like, how do you bill in comparison to your loaders, and how are you set up? That well, why don't we just start with that question? Is how does that compare?
Yeah, sure. Um, until this year, we didn't have a billable rate for plow trucks. We never ran plow trucks.
Mhm.
When I bought the business from the old owner, they used to run all 4x4s with blades on them. They're rebuilding front ends every couple of years. You just can't keep up with maintenance. You're running through trucks. So it actually is almost cheaper to be running loaders than it is to be running plow trucks for the volume
Mhm.
that we do. With the long
Mhm.
pushes and everything, you're pushing into the bank. So it's causing quite a bit of wear and tear on the front end. Um, I'll be honest with you, man. What made me reach out to you was when I saw the video explaining, I think the exact words were, the truck is doing what a truck is meant to do, which is
Mm.
pull and not push.
Mhm.
That was the eureka moment for me when I reached out and started our conversation was, well, if we can run it at, you know, a quarter of the cost of operation with fuel in wear and tear and repairs, um, but still keep the trucks in
Maintain
good
your
shape,
quality.
now it's a no-brainer, right?
Mhm.
Exactly. And I mean, as far as quality goes, we're so CPM Projects is kind of the mother company. We run different names for our different sub businesses. So our snow removal business name is Bare Asphalt Snow Removal. So that's a reputation that we wear with a lot of pride.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, within 5 hours of the snow stopping, our goal is to have every parking lot blocked with not a speck of snow, not a speck of ice in it. That's the standard of quality that our clients have come to expect.
Zero
Um,
tolerance.
yeah, absolutely. And at the
Mhm.
end of the day, it's what allows us to keep our insurance affordable too, right? Keep slip and falls
Mhm.
at a minimum. So it allows us to be a little more competitive when it comes to that without many
Yeah.
claims coming through.
Yeah.
So our main priority is quality. At the end of the day, we're not the cheapest contractor in town.
Mhm.
We're probably one of the higher priced contractors in town, but that's okay. We're not everybody's flavor, but the people that do like us tend to love us because they don't have to worry about it. Our philosophy is always, if the client's got to pick up the phone, we made a mistake. So we
Mhm.
try to be ahead of any client calls all the time and stuff. And the Top Gun has allowed us to kind of do that with the response time on the day storms, being able to zip across town in 20 minutes instead of 45 minutes with a loader. Well, that 25 minutes makes a difference for those clients when the snow starts heavy and strong.
Yeah, totally. And like, you want to pull into a gas station to grab a drink or whatever. Like it's not the whole experience
Yeah.
is so different. It will
Yeah.
never stack like a loader. But if you can do 70+% with a pickup truck, not blowing out the pickup truck, using it how it's meant to be.
Hmm.
It's a way more user friendly and financially beneficial
Yeah.
tool. And how so billing, you have big metal
Yes.
presses. Like what does a newish machine in your size cost right
Uh,
now, would you
brand
say?
brand new, you're about 450 ready to plow snow.
Oh,
In
damn.
sorry, in we run all Volvo loaders, so
Mm,
Volvos have, in our opinion, quite a bit more power for the size of the machine. They are a
mhm,
premium product, but they last a lot longer. So
right.
we run a Volvo fleet. So that's the pricing I know.
Yep.
I know. I guess
That's
on
fine. That's
average,
what you
you're
know. It
300
doesn't
grand. Yeah,
yep.
probably
So
300 grand gets you a plowing package.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
So compare that to your pickup with the snow plow, back
Mhm.
blade, Top Gun back blade, and then so it's not even close. Even if you have a really nice truck that's 100K plus, and you add 15 grand, give or take, depending on currency for the day, like 12 and change American, probably closer to 20, depending on where you get it shipped and
Yeah.
what extra taxes they find to give to you. They're very generous with assigning taxes to you.
Yeah.
But we know the upfront cost on both.
Mhm.
And then how is it billing wise? Is there
Yeah.
a major
So
compromise?
no, there's not. So the other thing is for the trucks, just before I go into billing, we already own the trucks. We just decided not to plow with them. So it's not even the cost of the truck. We already have that
Yes.
absorbed in our business. So I'm
Yeah.
comparing a $20,000 piece of gear with a, you know, we buy our machines used, but a
Mhm.
used package is around 175 grand. So if I want to gear up a new loader, uh, 5, 6 years old with a new metal plus on it, that's what we're talking. We're talking 175 to 180 grand.
Yep.
I already own the trucks. I'm already making payments on them. They're already kind of paying for themselves through the business. So it's, to me, it's 20 grand versus 175.
It's a nice
And
bolt on. And how is
yeah,
it for billables?
for billable, um, I bill it out as a loader because at the end of the
Hey
day,
yo.
our plowing contracts don't stipulate the type of equipment; they stipulate size of blade.
Mhm.
So our top class of billing is plowing with a 16 to 22 foot hydraulic blade. So
Mhm.
at the end of the day, the piece of equipment doesn't matter. So we're billing the top gun out exactly the same as we are our loader, and I don't think we're being unfair by doing it because
No.
we're
You found a
matching the
smarter
production.
solution.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
If I
it's
could
not
do
a
the same for
compromise
a
for the client.
fraction,
Exactly.
that's the contractor's benefit. You,
100%.
everybody wins.
Yeah, exactly. And they're getting faster response time. So they're happy too, right? When they see that type of gear, I've gotten a few calls from clients this year, asking what was on the back of my truck. And
Yeah.
and basically thanking us for being there so quick. A lot of times we were there
Wow.
just as the asphalt was turning white, whereas we got to send a loader across town. It's an
Yeah.
extra 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, totally. And so when you send out kind of like a first response crew, is
Mhm.
that all 100 loaders? Is that a couple? Has that changed at all since getting Top Gun?
Yeah. So we run 25 loaders. So the way we typically do it is anything during the day or first response. I'll usually send out a core crew of 5 to 6 guys. So I've got 5 or 6 key operators. Some machines more reliable than others, and you don't always have your full fleet up and going, especially when you don't get to take a break and do some repairs sometimes.
Hmm.
So we typically send out 5 or 6 guys until it gets real heavy. Once we get about 10 to 15 centimeters of accumulation, so 4 to 6 inches of accumulation down, at that point we call in reinforcements. If we're able to keep up, I always am of the philosophy that we're better off sending less machines out and giving the guys longer shifts. The
Hmm.
guys are putting their lives aside to plow snow in the winter. Nobody wins when you're calling them in for a 4 hour shift. So we like to have
You
our
want to
guys sit
reward
in the
them.
seat. Yeah, exactly. At least
Hmm.
make it worth to come in. So we tend to run kind of minimal amount of our gear that we can to get the job done. So that'll vary
Hmm.
during a storm, right? Sometimes we'll send 2 or 3 waves that we'll start with 5 or 6 guys, bump it up to 9 or 10. And then the last call is all right, all hands on deck. 25 loaders are going out. We got to get everything clear by 7 a.m. So here we go.
Full rodeo.
Yeah, and essentially the
So
Top Gun has replaced a loader. So we've
tell
we've
me
had to call,
more. I'm very
yeah,
interested to hear about this.
um,
So that
especially
like top line when you send that fleet,
yeah,
that like all-star team out first, are we a
mhm.
part of that?
It's even better than that. I drive around in my truck before I make the call. So on a snowstorm day, even before it starts snowing, I'm in my truck driving around town because we've got a river that runs through the middle of our city and it actually changes the weather patterns.
I'll bet.
So it could be snowing in one end of town and raining in the other and vice versa. So
Hmm.
even with live cams and webcams and stuff, it's you can never get a real feel for it. So
You
I'm
got to
driving
get out
around
there.
100%. As soon as there's any amount of precipitation anywhere in town, I'm in my truck driving around, usually 2 or 3 hours before the guys get called in. Well, now I'm driving around with a blade on my truck.
Man.
So if there's shady spots that aren't getting any sun that start to have a little bit of snow come in, I
Mhm.
can hold off calling the fleet in for a couple hours sometimes just by doing those
Man.
spots.
It has that. I mean, that's a major win. I mean, I always get nervous energy. We've got a company in Vancouver, BC, where we plow snow too. And when
Mhm.
I'm out there, it's just like, yeah, I just want to get eyes on it. You can
100%.
never tell. Sure, the weatherman said this. Sure, my cam over here said this. I just want to go get a feel for what's going on, actually.
100%. Yeah. And I
So
mean,
you're out
even in our
early.
yeah, even in our world, just the type of asphalt makes a difference, right? The
Yeah.
transport yards have a base and seal asphalt, and most of our commercial stuff have one lift asphalt. They don't absorb heat the same way. They don't get rid of the snow the
Mhm.
same way. So unless we're looking at our parking lots, it's really hard to make the call. You have to be out there.
It's not just a spreadsheet. It doesn't work that
No,
way at all.
exactly.
So you get to go out do inspections. I say this all the time. Give it to a soup. If you're a big iron company, that's great. I'm not saying replace all your loaders. I'm saying it when you have supervisor inspectors going out looking at sites, checking regions, fueling things up. If you have like,
Hmm.
a tank on your truck,
Hmm.
just put one of these on there because if you're bombing around town, nothing happens. No big deal. If you get smashed with big weather or a loader goes down or a guy his grandma's having lasagna today and he didn't make it in,
Hmm.
you can actually just like step in and make huge progress. It seems like hyperbole, like I'm making that up, but I can't tell you how many stories is like, no, no, we do the work of a loader. Again, we're not stacking, but we are clearing these big lanes very rapidly.
Yeah, and I mean, big parking lots. A lot of times when I'm out there with the Top Gun, we get on it right away, especially for our 24-hour lots. So we don't
Mhm.
let it accumulate. So
Yeah,
just chasing with the truck is no issue at all.
yeah,
It's not very often our loaders are pushing more than 6 inches, even if a lot more snow than that comes down, because we try to keep up with it, right? So as long as
yeah.
you're keeping up with it, there's no reason the truck can't do what the loader can do.
Totally. You can always keep the wings in or put one
Yep.
on a 45 and just windrow it out. Like
Yeah.
the math is pretty easy, especially for the cost because you already have the bodies out there. Like it
Hmm.
just, to me, it makes so much sense. So you
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to get a 20 this year, which will get you set up with
Yeah.
that next. I
100,
think
a
you're
little
gonna.
disappointed in that.
Yeah, I know we didn't have the available stock, but now you know what you were missing. So
Yeah.
you validated it in your Canadian market for all the
Hmm.
Canadian haters. Here's some facts for you. It does work in a high snow market. It does work in a loader company. I guess one of the last questions to ask is we hear a lot reports of guys who use it on open commercial. It's around 6 acres an hour. Do you have any comparables or speeds you go or things that you can advise or share?
Yeah. That's a really hard question for me to answer.
Mhm.
We typically don't do it that way.
Mhm.
So because a truck yard is so much different than a parking lot. The parking lots you're cutting around islands, you got concrete curbs, you've got a bunch of stuff, whereas the truck yard is open the blade up as big as it'll go and just push. It's all about the muscle, not about the finesse. So it's
Yep.
really hard to gauge an amount because our business is so varied. It's hard to gauge an amount of square foot per hour or acres per hour,
Mhm.
or the case may be. It's
And you're
really kind
pretty
of a case
fresh
by
into
case.
it, right? Like you haven't been using it forever. So
No.
after a couple seasons, the math will be clear, especially when you're training other guys.
Hmm.
This is what you can expect for output, and this is how you run that.
Yep.
Um,
One
okay.
major one major
Yeah.
advantage that we found this year, last few storms. So we actually have a custom built blade that we built about 8 years ago. We took an old propane tank actually, cut it apart. It's 20 feet wide, and that's what we scrape dolly legs with. So we have a lot
Wow.
of commercial trailer yards.
Uh-huh.
It's
That's
nasty to
clever.
travel with. Yeah, it's 20 feet, and you're hooked all the way on the right hand side. So
No.
we're literally going. We only bring it in the industrial park. It's sketchy. I'm literally bringing the blade up just below the power lines and letting cars drive underneath when we're running down the road. So if we meet a
Uh-huh.
transport truck, we got to basically cook the loader to the side, let the truck go by, and bring the loader back onto the road to kind of travel. Um,
Midnight
but it's a
mission.
game changer because, yeah, 100%. So we've got a few of our properties. One of our properties is 21 acres of asphalt. They'll house anywhere between 350 and 400 trailers. So if you think of the amount of follow up time for us having to have a loader there as they shunt trucks away and do stuff, and the amount of time it saves them from having to shunt all those trailers, we often get a lot
Mhm.
of blowing snow, especially in those big wide open lots. So the
Mhm.
dolly legs pack up. Um, I was very surprised, even with 16,
Mhm.
with the mirror folded in, I was able to reach
Yep.
in far enough
Yeah,
where
pull
the
up. Yep.
yeah, a little sketchy at times.
Yeah. Uh,
But I was able to clear enough with the wing to get the shunt truck in without getting stuck. So at the end of the day, anything more than that is just gravy. It did what it needed to do, and
mhm.
ever since I've had the Top Gun, that blade is now buried behind a bunch of other stuff in the yard. We haven't pulled out that 20-foot blade since we've had the Top Gun.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a huge win, man.
yeah,
That's something that actually moves the needle. We hear that
hmm
a lot. Is like I had to buy like a custom $16,000 plow just to get kingpins, just to reach in. But the 16s, I mean, my personal experience, I've run 16, 18, 20. That you will get in there with a 16, 18, a little easier, and a 20 is like you have all the space you could imagine. And
yeah.
compared to just a specialty piece of equipment, it's not really comparable.
No, and the other thing is, when we pull that blade out, it's it's a 20-minute mission. We got to unhook the metal Pless. So it's a bunch of hydraulic couplers. We're dropping a blade that we don't drop too often off of machines. The pins are rusted. You're bringing it to the shop. You're hammering the fittings off, and you're grabbing this blade just to go out for an hour to scrape, and then you come back to the shop and you spend 45 minutes putting the metal Pless back on to keep plowing with that machine because it's
Mhm.
completely useless 20-foot straight blade for doing anything but dolly legs. It becomes such a specific piece of equipment that you need to do it, but it becomes a hassle. With the Top Gun, as I'm driving around, I got a loader in the yard. I won't scrape out the loader around, but as our loaders do laps, I'll pull in, I'll swing the wing out, pull the mirrors in, pull the snow out in the way, let the guys pick it up the loader, and on to the next one we go. And we don't have to be down the loader that time.
Yeah, that's that, man. I'm happy for me. The like it really is, a lot of guys have said there's no way what you're saying is true. It's like, no, I want the best for everybody. That's what I'm trying to do is help solve good problems here for more guys. So it's nice that way. And I'm so happy to see other guys winning and succeeding. Did I lose my camera
You're good.
like it's solving real problems for you that is making your life easier, is cutting your costs,
Mhm,
and is increasing your profits. Like that's like the holy grail when you hit that sweet spot. Now it doesn't work for
yeah.
everything all the time, but 80+% of circumstances, it's a pretty easy go-to. As long as you have other equipment to work with, you're
hmm
in good shape. And that
hmm
applies to everything, right?
hmm
If guys have a fleet of trucks, adding one
hmm
of these to hog out big sections of snow, reach kingpins, do loading
hmm
docks, the other trucks can push. And if you have loaders, it's kind of vice versa, the same type of work, but you're not pushing the same big loads like you would be if you're running with other trucks. Okay, so in closing here,
hmm
you had told me about this is a 2 point kind of question. You told me about the your previous boss who you bought the company from. He was one of the first to try a metal press in your area.
Yes.
And then tell me about that story.
So about 15 years ago, before my time at the company, um, the previous owner of the business was the first one, I believe, in the Maritimes, but the first one in our market for sure to be running metal presses on loaders. And at the
Mhm.
time, everybody called him crazy. For the first 2 years, nobody bought in. Nobody
The
thought
first
they were
one's
worth the money.
always crazy. You'll never
Yeah,
work. You don't know anything.
it's
You're
it's a blast to be crazy, isn't
oh yeah. It's fun to be early.
it? Yeah. Um, so basically, at the time, he started distributing the metal pluses. So our yard was kind of the holding yard for metal plus, and as they became more and more popular, they went through a different distributorship route. But we were the first ones in town to rock the metal pluses, and now I would say that well over 90% of machines are running metal plus. You don't see anything else on
Wow.
loaders in town.
Well,
So they've
when
kind
you
of dominant. They've kind of went
dominated,
from being, yeah, they went from being something that people made fun of you for having to something people make fun of you for not having. So it kind of, the
yeah,
tables have turned.
I guess. And something you told me one of our first conversations after your first plow
Hmm.
was in line with that for Top Gun. Do you remember how
Yeah.
that went?
Yeah, I
So
said it. There's nothing cooler than thinking that the previous owner was the first one to rock the metal pluses, and everybody kind of made fun of him. And here we are doing the same thing with a new type of backblade. It's we're gonna be the first ones in town. The first time I had it out, my phone rang 3 or 4 times. People wondering what we were doing, what we had in the back of the truck. Kind of left people in suspense a little bit, but
good man.
have been talking to a few guys here in the last couple weeks, and seems as though it might swing a little faster than it did with the metal pluses. Hopefully.
Totally. And we're working on a deal to have you be a part of
Yep.
that so you can speak from experience. You've got more than an adequate shop to do installs out there. Like
Hmm.
it makes a ton of sense to me because I don't want to be the I think the market of just these trust the expert, the professional, the guy who's in a cute showroom that's never run anything. I think a lot of those days are kind of over. It has gone more peer to peer
Hmm.
connection and contractor to contractor. That's what I'm really trying to foster is more of
Hmm.
that grassroots trusted. If you have a good reputation for being in the industry, I'm not going to sell you junk. There's no way I will, makes us all look bad. So
Yeah.
that's the route I'm going. And to have guys who are bought in, who understand, who have seen the benefits, sharing those with other guys, that's priceless. That's a major advantage. So it's kind of cool that it seems like phase two, your own chapter
Hmm.
of this is like I was the first one in the province for the Top Gun, and
Yeah.
now I'm kind of gonna flip the script and do the same thing you did before, but for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I see it as a huge opportunity, right? It's not very often in today's world that you see a revolutionary product. We kind
Mm-mm.
of, in our day and age, it's kind of easy to assume that, the better mousetrap's already been invented. Very
Mhm.
seldom do you come across something like this. And it makes so much sense to me. It's so easy to see. The truck's doing what the truck is meant to do. It's got the weight on the back. I guarantee no blade is harder on a truck than a 25,000 pound trailer being hauled by the hitch, bouncing around the highway doing
Yes.
110 kilometers an hour.
Yes.
The blade's not going to hurt the truck.
Mm-mm.
That's what I love about it. You don't have the liability of putting an operator that's used to a loader in a truck and smashing the front end up because they're used to pushing the piles. But this thing, they pretty much can. It's
Oh yeah.
built to take it.
Yes, totally. And it's not theologically correct, but this phrase rings around in my head all the time from a friend. He's like, God hates a coward. It's like, I'm not sure where that came from. I don't think I disagree with it. But like being courageous, being the first guy in town, taking all the heat, all the silly comments, all the funny questions. If you have courage and you're the first guy in your market, you get well rewarded for that in many ways. Like when clients look out the window, like, what? What's on your truck?
Hmm.
Like the peak, it sets you apart as the expert, the innovator, and that reputation doesn't go away. When
Yep.
you're the guy that brought brine to town or backblades or what metal plus is, like that reputation is there forever. And
Yeah.
so it's
And it's
cool to
fun.
see guys being rewarded for that.
Yeah, and it's funny because one of our longstanding clients that was actually the previous owner's pretty much first snow client when he first started pushing snow with 3/4 ton trucks.
Uh-huh.
Been in our portfolio for over 15 years now. First time I showed up in their yard with it to clean kingpins, he gave me a call right away and he's like, "Hey, like, what's that thing?" I said, "Oh, it's a new blade we're trying out of the back of our trucks or whatever." He says, "That reminds me a lot of when you guys first tried a metal plus in our yard and everybody was making fun of you then. And this
No
seems
way.
to be something similar. It's something new
Wow.
that seems to be working real good." So it was cool to get that kind of even from a client, right? To call and
Yeah.
to make that link was kind of neat.
Like special for them too, just seeing
Yeah.
the whole full circle. Okay, last thing, that I gotta say goodbye. This interview is
Mhm.
nothing but gold. You're a real person. This is not AI. These are
No.
your experiences. Look up your
Yeah.
company. Okay, so last question. We're gonna roll with this. It's so difficult to get take the back of my truck, and I don't know how to hook it up or get it off or this. I say, from my experience, if you hook up a trailer and you can operate a trailer, this is no brainer. So, do you keep it on your truck all winter? Do you take it off? How is the on off process with the Top Gun blade for you?
Yeah. No, I don't leave it on. Having more than our snow removal business to take care of, I'm loading plywood, I'm putting material in the back of the truck and stuff. So I need to have the back of my truck available to me when I'm not plowing snow with it. Um, we drop the blade in the shop. It takes all of 3.5 minutes ballpark. Back it up. It's got the adjustment right on the hydraulic control box, which is a game changer. Um,
Hmm.
haven't had the I've always had the luxury of having another guy with me kind of help me put it on. But even alone, I'm sure it won't be a big deal. But throw the thing in reverse, line it up with the reverse camera. He adjusts the height last minute, 2 pins and one plug, and away you go. It's a no brainer, man. It's way easier to hook up a front blade. We struggled with front blades for 10 or 15 minutes to get them lined up. This
Yep.
thing here, we could put two of these on the time it takes to put on one front blade.
It, like, that's the thing. If they went old school, is like it feels impossibly simple and strong. Just like
Hmm.
everything is obvious. If something's gonna break, it's like, oh, here's the hose. I'm gonna go to my hose shop or Princess Auto on the weekend, or
Hmm.
if you're in a pinch, there's a lot of things that are over the counter, which are it's uncommon because every bolt on a lot of plows are protected proprietary information. And we want the
Hmm.
opposite. It's not that we're against protecting. We value it. We things are
Hmm.
protected for a reason, but not everything all the time. We just need you to have a blade. If you want to be running, I mean, you cycle equipment, but if you want to be running this in 15 years, the blade will still be going.
Yeah.
It's built to go for a long time and make a lot of money.
Yeah, it's built really solid. Like that's one thing we were impressed with when it showed up is just how hefty that blade is. Like at first you think 16 feet behind a truck, what's it? How flimsy going to be light enough to fit
Mhm,
back there? But the
mhm.
weight seems to be in the right places, and it. The other thing that we find is it having that weight on the blade gives it such a nice scrape. It's just got
Yeah.
the weight, even without down pressure, even just putting
Yep.
it down on the ground. It's got enough weight to cut through even the ice. And like I said, then if you need to, you put down pressure on it, but we try not to because it's a little hard on everything.
Mhm.
Um, but just the weight of the blade is
But
is
you're not
impressive.
afraid of it. I'm seeing your
Absolutely not.
videos. Yeah.
We do what we got to do, right? At the end of the day, we're named
Yeah.
Bear Asphalt, so come hell or high water, we get her down to black. So we got to do what we
Correct
got
me
to
if
do.
I'm wrong. I saw you pushing some ice or like thin snow. It looked like ice. And then you were in reverse. And then I saw your wheels just rotating. It seemed
Yeah.
like the back end came right off with that down pressure.
Yes, exactly what happened. So we got about 7 centimeters or 3 inches or so, I guess, of ice pellets. So they came down frozen, not one stitch of snow. So it was heavy.
Mhm.
Our loaders couldn't even fill a blade and push it.
Oh,
Um,
man.
so I originally thought about not taking up the Top Gun because we didn't send
Mhm.
any of other of our equipment out. We didn't send tractors out. We didn't send plow trucks out. It was just too hard on them. And I said, you know what? We're going to give this thing a shot and see what it's made of.
Let's go
Threw
play.
it, yeah, 100%. Threw it on the truck. Away we went. I was blown away, man. As soon as you put down pressure on that thing, it just cuts right to the asphalt, and that hybrid
Mhm.
cutting edge blew me away. We've never ran
Cool.
hybrid cutting edges. We've always ran carbide, and this
Mhm.
thing was scraping just as clean as carbide, even through that thick, heavy slop.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Well, Alex, I couldn't have paid you to say these things or have these experiences. Like, this is the greatest. I look forward to working with you as a user and
Mhm.
dealer set up to send other guys to your trusted source. You know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I might be on the snow jobs next week as a season kind of wrap up on their podcast and to share some other user stories and some new products we've
Nice.
kind of rolled out. So I think I might have you on there because you have too much good experience in a short time that's relevant, in particular for my Canadians, that we need to get out there. So thank you very much.
100%.
Look forward to working with you.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man. Thanks, Rob.
All right, man.
Okay,
Cheers.
take care, man.